throughout my life, I've learned that it starts with a desire. It doesn't start with your pocketbook. Don't let your purpose be determined by your pocketbook.
What if you could make more money and multiply your impact with books without selling thousands of copies? Wouldn't you want to find out just how to do that? Well, that's what the show is all about.
Hi, I'm Henika Watkis Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, and the host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, inviting you to listen to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, brought to you by C. Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
Greetings, Apreneurs. It's episode 188 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. And in today's show, I am going to be featuring my book, Starting Without Money, Achieving Big Dreams with Small Pockets. So sharing from that, how you can achieve your big dreams, even if you have no money. And then I'm going to give you some exciting updates on my authorpreneur journey. So stay tuned.
Your book is the perfect spark to get the fire going in your personal life, career, business, or ministry. Light that book spark today.
It's 11 days since Hurricane Melissa. At the recording of this episode on November 9, that's Sunday, November 9, 2025. And a lot is happening. One thing I can say is that Jamaica is well loved. There are so many people and countries helping Jamaica. I see Rihanna's foundation doing something, Walt Disney doing something, Amazon donating money, several countries from Spain, Colombia, Venezuela, the United States, Cayman Islands, Barbados. Everybody wants to help Jamaica to rebuild, and this is a blessing. The Jamaicans themselves are doing their parts, from entertainers to you name it. Everybody has been participating in the relief efforts, from Beanie Man, Spice, the church, the government, and yet there are still some areas that are marooned that we cannot reach. Samaritan's Purse is here. They've set up a field hospital. The different organizations, everybody is seeking donations and trying to do their part. The previous Minister of Finance, as I mentioned on the previous episode, he had set up different disaster recovery financial instruments to help us. That's Dr. Nigel Clark, and that bond, I think, has been paid out, the catastrophe bond, $150 million US, and there were some other disaster funds and other things that have been paid out. Private sector have been chipping in, corporate Jamaica. It is such a wonderful sight. So it would mean that, Jamaica doesn't have to borrow as much because everybody is just giving. And my only thing is I pray that the government acts with wisdom, that there will be no corruption, that those who need the help will get help. There are over 600 schools that have been impacted by Hurricane Melissa, 450 so far within the disaster area. People have lost homes, communities have disappeared. People are starting from scratch. Some people are staying with loved ones. Some still don't have anywhere to stay. Some people may need temporary shelters like tents. They're going to set up some tent schools because education is often the ticket out of poverty for many of us in the Caribbean, many of us in Jamaica, and our children have exams and many of them would be out of school. And so the Ministry of Education is doing their best. And my prayer is that indeed in this hour, wisdom will come into play and some genius ideas will come forth and that we can build a better and more resilient Jamaica. No, I am grateful in spite of what has happened. There was a typhoon in the Philippines in the past couple of days, and over 113 persons died. And that typhoon was at a speed, I think, 155 miles per hour, less than what hit Jamaica. It was 185 miles per hour with Hurricane Melissa, and so far only 32 deaths. I'm sure that the death toll will go up because there are some about 22 maroon communities. You have communities that the water table and everything, it has risen above people's houses and it looks like it is not receding. And so it will be a long road to recover, but it is so encouraging to see volunteerism and goodwill and everybody trying to do their part. And I'm doing my part. And as a company, as I mentioned last week, BambuSparks will be doing our part. And so we met on the 2nd to say what we would do. And then we started our impact survey, which would have been phase 2. That assessment will continue until the 14th. Part of the impact assessment survey, as well as we network with our authors and those in those communities with boots on the ground, we want to establish a strategic recovery network and partnerships for collaboration with people with boots on the ground. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. So we want to identify projects to partner with, whether it's adopt a school, adopt a home, adopt a church, and work with them. And we want to especially help out with education. I'm an educator, so that has always been a big thing for me. And so we want to do a book drive starting Christmas. So it's book school supplies drive. We're calling it Books of Brighter Days. We will be producing some of our own exercise books to give away. We will be encouraging our authors to give away some of their books, especially children's books. We want to reestablish libraries and centers of reading and replace supplies that have been lost. This is books, but people would have lost laptops, all kind of things. When you look at everything that was destroyed by the hurricane and the floods that came and your house swept away, I mean, people are starting from scratch and our children are going to be in need of supplies. And we're doing our part. We're a small company, we very small. We're still in the startup phase. It's not 5 years yet. Come November 21, we will be 4 years old. We are still in that phase where a lot of businesses fail, but we're going to do our part. Small company, but big impact. We want to do an anthology of resilience or anthologies of resilience, telling untold stories, which is a series I started some time ago. And this could become an income generating initiative using authorpreneurship. So we want to help people with livelihoods. My dissertation is on authorpreneurship as a model for sustainable income. And I was looking at it through the lens of the creative industry, the orange economy, using intellectual property as a tool for economic development. And so this now becomes a ripe environment to test these principles, because initially it was authorpreneurship as a model for poverty alleviation. And one of the reasons why the poor will always be with us is because of disasters, right? Because when disasters like this come, businesses are wiped out, you're set back. So in terms of material poverty, you're really set back. And so I wanted to show that authorpreneurship is a model for poverty alleviation, because that's what it did for me. And it helps to create sustainable income. Now I am on chapters 4 and 5. I am doing up my coding and thematic analysis, and I need to write up chapter 4, I'm still learning the tools. It was a little frustrating at first. And so I found a qualitative analysis tool called Delve, and that made things a little bit easier for me. And then by December 15, I have to submit chapters 4 and 5. You know, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. So this now gives me an opportunity to also put authorpreneurship as a model for poverty alleviation or sustainable income to the test with some of the persons affected. And even if you help 1 or 2 persons, it's still a difference you're making, because you never know, you know, what can happen. But together, everyone achieves more. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just need to find out who is doing what and join up with them. We have a short-term fundraising goal that might not seem big, but we're doing our little part. We would want to raise $1 million Jamaican dollars, maybe by March of next year. So that's in a couple of months. That would be 6,500. Now that is a minimum. We want to do more, but we want, you know, those 1,000 books to give away for Christmas, and some of the other initiatives so we can help put our roof back on and just help out. We also want to support a family or a school over the course of a year. We will make updates via social media and our newsletter. Like I said, we want to have boots on the ground. So I'm going to be having a meeting tomorrow, for example, with a head of denomination to see what they're doing, because I know we have churches in the affected area. You know, churches are grassroots organization. They know what is happening in the community. They know who are the most vulnerable, or they should know, and we want to help the least of these. Finally, we want to do a long-term author giving initiative whereby we want to encourage authors over the course of a year to donate a percentage of your book sales towards the rebuilding effort. And this is something that I had in mind at the start of my author journey from 10 years back. And now the opportunity to put these things into practice. Like I said, we're also having a week of prayer this week, because we believe in divine guidance, that as we pray, we will get insights to know how to act. And there are just some things that only God heals the brokenhearted and binds up the wound. And some people may be angry at God. You know, I don't believe in a God, because how could God allow all of this to happen? And I can't blame you. Habakkuk asks the same questions, right? You know, why is it that the more we pray, bad things happen? No, it's not because of lack of ability. Sometimes it's God's agenda. And I know that crises very often lead to transformation. Even in the midst of this, construction workers who would have been without jobs are going to get jobs. Some people's an opportunity to start afresh, opportunity for compassion and love. And sometimes, you know, God allows these things to happen so that you can become a catalyst for change. My pastor always said that, you know, somebody else's trial, whether it is sickness or something, becomes ministry for others. And within every adversity is a seed of benefit. And I'm looking forward to how these painful journeys will lead to a bigger, brighter, better Jamaica. When you're going through it, no, you can't see any positive, right? You lose everything. Some people have lost loved ones, right? You can't see no positive in that. But we've seen, for example, with the story of Ruth and Naomi. Naomi lost her entire family and she lost hope, yet God was able to use her as one of the matriarchs of a family that he used to change the world. So don't give up hope. It's my adversities and my disappointments that became the seeds of change and transformation in my own life. And so don't give up. There is hope, and you can still have a brighter future. I pray that in the same way that a lot of people are helping Jamaica, that those in the Philippines who've been affected, that they will get aid from around the world. It's really pray that in the same way a lot of people are helping Jamaica, that help will come to the Philippines, because it's one human race and we're all our brothers keeper. And there's lots happening, stuff happening in Nigeria, stuff happening in Sudan, stuff still happening in Ukraine. Let us help wherever possible and try to make this world a better place. All right, so that's what is happening in terms of hurricane relief and what I plan to do and what others are doing. And I suppose this will become a regular feature, some hurricane update. And so this show is really about teaching authors and aspiring authors how to generate lasting income with your book beyond book sales. And we have a Vision 2030 plan, which is to raise up 10,000 Caribbean authorpreneurs. And so even this thing gives us a chance to help more people. And so like every fourth Monday of each month, I'm going to be featuring a Caribbean entrepreneur rock star, their story, because it's a roadmap to 2030. And coming January will be the sixth staging of our Caribbean Entrepreneur Summit. And we're going to be looking at writing faster and publishing smarter using AI. And it's going to be an exciting time. I have confirmed almost all the speakers, and you will hear more about them. So there's that. And finally, in terms of the update, the Small Book Big Impact Challenge is on, and it is just amazing. Within the first week, when we had the second writing sprint on day 8, Saturday gone, 2 persons already finished their book. So congratulations to Francina Price, who completed the draft of her devotional, and it was over 15,000 words. Congratulations to Luchelle Josiah Tyson on her general nonfiction book, Delayed But Not Denied. She wrote 22,620 words. So we have 2 winners. Now we're going to look for a poetry winner, a children's book winner, and maybe a fiction winner. And so congratulations. I myself was able to complete a book that I started in May 2024. And that's Fairview Untold Stories. This is the story of my journey at Fairview Open Bible Church and how God used this church to help me to finish my doctorate. So part of it is prophetic, right? The doctorate will be finished next year, but Fairview has played such an important role on it. And it's 14 amazing stories of faith, hope, and transformation. And I did a little blurb for it. It says, in the heart of Spanish Town, when faith meets community, miracles happen and dreams are realized. In Spanish Town, Jamaica, stands a church quietly shaping lives and transforming a community. Fairview's Untold Stories chronicles 14 remarkable testimonies from Fairview Open Bible Church, stories of ordinary people experiencing extraordinary service. Amid the global disruption of the COVID-19 pandemic, author and educator, and I'm speaking prophetically now, Dr. Kamika Ruth Taylor was led to Fairview, where God used this faith community to restore her hope and help her complete her doctoral journey after 11 challenging years. So I'm in year 10 now, and next year will be year 11. And by God's grace, I will graduate. I mean, I'm on chapter 4, and I am expressing faith and confidence that I will finish, or else this book can't come out. So in this book, you will discover messages of hope, faith, and perseverance. How it leads to divine breakthroughs. You will discover stories of love, leadership, and supernatural encounters. The pastor's love story is in there, another person's love story. It has stories of women who could not conceive, those who had miscarriages who eventually conceived. It has stories, different things. It chronicles my doctoral journey in the last 3 years, the courses, lessons learned, and the people I met. The book itself has so encouraged me. So Fairview This Untold Stories is the second in my series of Untold Stories. Before that was CGST's Untold Stories, and that had 12 transformational stories. And so Untold Stories is about people and places that are creating a transformational impact. And I'm doing other Untold Stories, but those are like solo books. But in terms of ones that directly have the title, this series is about that. So we want to showcase the good in Nazareth. Because, for example, when I was going to Spanish Town, my best friend was like, I don't want you to go there. I don't want you to die. Because Spanish Town has a stigma, right? Of violence, and people see it as a dark place. But in this place is this lighthouse, Fairview Open Bible Church, that God has just used to revive my faith, strengthen me, and help me to realize dreams that were on hold. One of those is getting my doctorate, and so I can't wait. So I thought, because I had written 11 books already for this year, that, I'm leading this challenge. I'm just going to write with folks every week. I don't know if I'll be able to finish a book. Well, the muse came. I was up all night, I think on the 6th, and I wrote and wrote and rewrote parts of the book, added new chapters. And even today, I finished the draft on the 8th, thought I was finished, and while listening to it, I recognized I needed to add some more to it. So now I'm at over 40,000 words, and it's really, really finished. I've done the dedication. I've started working on the reference list, and all I have left would be like the acknowledgements. And we know I've started editing, but it's not going to come out until next year, August, God willing, at the church's anniversary. So, and after I get the doctorate. But I'm so excited about that, and that my writing fast is is rubbing off on people. And that's my authorpreneurship strategy. This show and the book, it has 3 parts, right? Write fast, publish cost effectively, and generate lasting income. And so every November, as we do the Small Book Big Impact Challenge, we're practicing to write fast. So there are others now who are going to write more than 1 book on this challenge, just like me. I'm going to start another book on the challenge. And it's another series of untold stories, this time with my mentor, Reverend Courtney Richards, capturing his life and impact across Africa, the Caribbean, North America, Asia. And I'm going to start that on this challenge. And let's see how it goes. But I'm so excited. And so that's one of the latest in my authorpreneurship venture. And there are other authorpreneurship ventures. I want to mention, I may have mentioned it before, the audiobooks. So I'm releasing ebooks and audiobooks first, and then the print where possible. And I had 18 audiobooks released one time, and I'm continuing that. I have another book coming up. That's the book I'm writing with my doctoral colleague from Hong Kong, Dr. Boaz Young, Making Sense of 9 to 5. No, that one is in formatting stage right now. We still have some more editing to do, and it's set to come out on the 30th. But we've been doing our pre-order, and the book hit the Amazon bestseller list in a couple categories. And so I'm happy about that. I'll tell you more about that book as it draws closer to the publication and after, and all that we'll be doing. And finally, BambuSparks launched a marketing channel for its authors and other Caribbean authors. We want to do 1,001 videos sharing marketing tips. So 2 videos are already out, and every Monday we're releasing short videos teaching you how to market your book and what you can do to sell more books. And then we're going to have an annual author sales and impact awards to see if you sell your first 1,000 or more books each year, and what impact you're creating, just to encourage our people, because we know what the average is in terms of book sales. Now, what I want to feature today, like I said, is a reading from my book, Starting Without Money. That's one of the 12 books that I'm publishing for 2025. And this one is already out in audio and ebook format. Now, as I think about the disaster and the help that is needed, there are certain persons who want to help and you want to do big things and you don't have no money and you're wondering, how can I do it? You want to publish, you want to market, and you don't have any money. And many times you allow your dreams to be put on hold because of your bank book. And I want to say, do not let your bank book rob you of your dreams. Throughout my life, I've learned that it starts with a desire. It doesn't start with your pocketbook. Don't let your purpose be determined by your pocketbook. Money follows vision, and provision follows vision and purpose. And that's what this book is about. And I share 7 stories. It's a small book, 58 or 60 pages, just to encourage others to not let lack of resources deter you from starting towards your dream, moving towards your dream. And so many of you, you want to publish and you don't have any money. When I started, I didn't have any money. A lot of things I've started. My doctorate, when I started it, I was unemployed. I had no money. And here I am, almost at the end. My doctoral outstanding tuition, I think is $1,000 I have now, and I have less than 2,000 to pay overall. But when I started, I had no money. And so this book is key, and it's a short read, right? So I'm going to read the introduction and chapter 2 just to encourage you. So the title is Starting Without Money, Achieving Big Dreams with Small Pockets. Introduction: How starting without money can work in your favor. At my 10th anniversary book launch and business celebration, as I shared my journey, the guest speaker suggested I write a book on starting without money. She noticed it was a recurring theme in my stories. She was right. Thank you, Daphne Ellis, for that suggestion. I have obeyed. In documenting these experiences, my goal is simple: to help more people chase their dreams and not let financial limitations stop them. Too often, many people suffer from what I call financial myopia. Myopia, literally, nearsightedness, is a vision condition where distant objects appear blurry. Financially, it's when people allow the size of their bank account to blind them to the possibilities God has in store. They focus on what is near, unable to step towards something bigger, often because they've never seen it modeled. Lack becomes a deterrent rather than an opportunity. Imagine if Walt Disney had let financial limitations stop his dreams. Despite repeated rejections from banks, 300 rejections, he persisted until he got a yes. Or consider Melanie Perkins, founder of Canva, who was rejected by investors over 100 times. Today, Canva is valued at over $49 billion, but she started with nothing. Most successful businesses share this story. Little or no capital, a bold vision, and the persistence to pitch over and over until right support arrives. This is why shows like Shark Tank and Dragon's Den exist, and why companies use IPOs and bonds to raise capital. There is no shortage of money. It's simply a matter of access. Your gift, your vision, and your creativity can open doors and attract the resources needed to bring your dreams to life. In this book, I share my journey of starting big things without money. Along the way, I offer practical takeaways. Starting without money can actually work in your favor. It forces creativity and resourcefulness. Necessity, after all, is the mother of invention. In the final chapter, I explore the creative power of ideas, how ideas themselves can give birth to money. While you may not have the funds, others do, and it's up to you to believe that the resources will come. I remember a friend once said to me, God says to tell you that it is not money you need, it's favor. Another friend told me, God says to tell you that money is no problem. And it has been true. Often I forget, but the testimonies of provision keep doubts and self-limiting beliefs at bay. I'm sure you have your own testimonies. May these 7 stories inspire you to pursue your big dreams because God's purpose is not limited by your pocketbook. God-sized dreams demand God-sized faith. If you manage it on your own, then you don't need God. Disclaimer, please note that some of the stories included may also appear in other works, as my content is designed for various audiences. While the stories themselves may not be new, their application is tailored to the specific purpose of each book. And a side note, a feature of my writing is that I intentionally repeat a chapter or some content from a previous book in a new book to link the book, to promote it. But because each book is designed for a different audience, they may not even be familiar with the other books. And so that's my signature, right? Something from a previous book is going to come back in a new book. All right, so let's get to chapter 2, which is relevant to this show. Publishing without money. I used to feel ashamed that every time I needed to publish a book, I didn't have the funds. Now I see it as a badge of honor. Lack of money forced me to become creative, to learn new skills, and to discover opportunities I would have otherwise overlooked. Publishing independently can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 when working with a company. But what if you have no money? Is it still possible? The answer is yes, and I'm living proof. From $1 million mistakes to $1 million secrets. When I published my first book, Heartache Queen Unshackled, I was unemployed and broke. Prior to writing, I had served as a missionary with Operation Mobilization, living on donor support. When that season ended in 2014, so did my steady income. I believed God was calling me not to take a 9-to-5 job, but to write books that would transform lives. The publishing budget for my first book was $20,000. That's 2 million Jamaican dollars at the time. It included a 2-day launch event, printing 5,000 full-color copies, paying publishing company fees, and supporting a 14-member team. Of course, I didn't have that kind of money. Through crowdfunding, sponsorships, gifts, and small loans from my mother and publishing manager, I managed to raise about half of the budget. The book was eventually published in January 2015, but I was left with about US $10,000 or 1 million Jamaican dollars in debt. I could only afford to print 1,200 copies, and it took me a full year to sell 1,000 of them. To survive, I took a part-time job for the next 3 years. That allowed me to repay debts, cover daily expenses, and keep writing. During that time, I produced 3 more books. Eventually, I left the workforce for good. A coach helped me to discover how to turn my books into profitable programs. Instead of relying solely on book sales, I built coaching packages, online courses, boot camps, membership groups, live events, and even a publishing services company, BambuSparks. This transition birthed my authorpreneur journey. Over the years, this model allowed me to pay off debt, publish books of more than 150 authors in the Caribbean and diaspora, provide income in US dollars for at least 21 creatives across 6 countries, fund 50% of my doctoral studies, support students with tuition, family, and friends financially, expand my Christian ministry. In 2019, I began formally teaching the authorpreneurship process with the book Authorpreneur Secrets. In 2020, I launched an online academy based on the book. Today, my mission is to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030 who will create sustainable income and transform lives for the glory of God. My book, $1 Million Book Secrets, reveals $3 million book models that authors can use to create sustainable income without mass book sales. Case study. publishing for $150. Dr. Jean Lee, a retired lecturer and language specialist, published her third book, Journeying On, a poetic diary, in October 2018 for only US $150. How did she do it? Colleagues helped with structural review. Family members contributed cover design and photography. I assisted with ISBN purchase and publishing guidance. She outsourced only the layout and the final cover work. She did her own editing and proofreading. She negotiated with a local printer for installment payments on 100 copies. Her total cost, $150. This experience, along with my own, showed that publishing on a budget is possible. I identified 7 secrets from these experiences and turned them into my Publishing Secrets 101 Masterclass on Udemy. Over 2,300 students from 97 countries have taken the course for free. Lessons from starting without money. 1, creativity is born from lack. My debt from the first book taught me how to publish wisely and explore pre-orders, print on demand, and service exchanges instead of getting loans. 2, skills replace money. I learned cover design, book formatting, and marketing. These skills now save me thousands and allow me to help others. 3, service exchanges work. One of our authors was 24 years old, a recent university graduate. She wanted to publish a children's book but could not afford the US $1,500 to do it. When we interviewed her, she said she was good at Canva, a designing tool, and had a degree in publishing. So we trained her in the practical aspects of book publishing. Her creative skills were used as service exchange, and after a probationary period of 3 months, we hired her full-time. In the process, she got her book published and became an Amazon bestseller. 4, luck creates opportunities. My first 2 publishing clients couldn't pay me, but by helping them, I gained confidence, testimonials, and proof of concept that attracted paying clients later. 5, vision attracts provision. Money follows purpose. When people see your determination, they are often excited to help. Conclusion: starting without money is not a setback. It is a gift in disguise. It forces you to stretch, learn, and innovate. My lack became the gateway to skill development, financial freedom, and 2 thriving businesses. Dr. Lee's lack became her opportunity to publish debt-free. My young client's lack became her chance to build a career, and my own lack pushed me to build a publishing ecosystem that now benefits hundreds of others. Don't let your empty bank account silence your dream. Where there is vision and persistence, there will always be provision. Takeaway: start with faith, not funds. Your vision can create the resources you need. That's an excerpt from my book, Starting Without Money. Just reading it, I was encouraged again, especially we're seeing that happen as people are trying to help Jamaica. Many people don't have the resources, but they put the need out there and say donate. And so they're starting without money and getting the things done. This feels like a TED Talk. Anybody in TED Arena listening? I can do a talk on starting without money, how to achieve big dreams with small pockets. I think that's an idea worth sharing. So heads up, anybody want to help me to do a TED Talk on this? If you like this episode, let me know. I'm excited. And yeah, just reading that truly excited me, and I trust that it was insightful and inspiring. All right, that's it for today. Just reminding you that of the making of books, there is no end. Go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.